Back with us on the SportsMax Zone. Cricket in the region is what we're staying with. The round-robin stage of the CG Insurance Super 50 competition ended on Monday with Guyana Jaguars storming to a 9-wicket win over Windward Islands Volcanoes at North Sound. Batting first, the Volcanoes were skittled out for 153. Well, they made 153 as Keon Joseph took 4 for 24. In reply, the Jaguars, they racked up 155 for 1 inside 29 overs with Shimron Hetmeyer top scoring with an unbeaten 67 of 59 balls. This is how the teams stood at the end of the preliminary round. Hurricanes, last of all, the Pride, last but one, and then the top four, Red Force, Jaguars, Volcanoes, and the Scorpions. The Red Force, perfect, the only perfect record in the tournament, while the Pride and the Hurricanes both won only one game. Now, semi-final one will be played on Wednesday at Coolidge with the unbeaten TNT Red Force, I mentioned, taking on the Scorpions. Then on Thursday, it's the Jaguars and the Volcanoes who will do battle at Coolidge. All right, so the Red Force are the form team this year going into the semis. Will they sweep it all?
I think they will. I'm just hoping, George and Lance, that they don't do what the Guyana team did in the CPL, because, you know, they always say you have to lose one, and I hope they don't lose the one that matters the most. What I will say, though, is this pandemic, I mean, it has done so many bad things, and, you know, I can't even start a list, but one good thing it has done, it has allowed our cricketers, especially the ones that represent West Indies and that make a lot of big bucks in those T20 and T10 competitions, to represent their home country. And I feel like when I looked at the Red Force team on paper, and of course looked at our national players step up, like Sunil Narayan. I haven't seen him playing for the Red Force in a long time. Ravi Rampal, when I saw his name on the list, I had to check again. And you know, it just feels so good looking at our Trinidad and Tobago boys represent for their country in a long time. And I have to say, they definitely have stood up. And you know, we see the strength of the team. Another team that benefited from that, George and Lance, is Barbados. They had Jason Holder come out for them. Look at Shimron Hetmeyer doing it for the Guyana Jaguars. So I feel like this Super 50 has been a very strong one to look at.
Yeah, to be honest, the Red Force team will be very hard to beat. No question about that. On form, they are the best team. And on paper, they appear to have the best team as well. And they've been 5-0 in the prelims. The Guyanese have only lost one match. They have lost only to Trinidad and Tobago. So I would think, based on form, both TNT and Guyana should be favored to win their semi-final matches. Both the Windwards and Jamaica won just 2 of their 5 matches. The Jamaicans had beaten the Leewards and Barbados, and the Windwards had beaten the Leewards and Jamaica. So, you know, none of those 2 teams, Jamaica Scorpions and Windwards Volcanoes, coming into the semi-finals with a lot to speak about, that you could say that they should challenge TNT and Guyana. But cricket is played on the day, as we know. So if you know, if when they turn up, they find themselves not repeating the form that they showed in the prelims, then it could give the Windwards and the Jamaicans an outside chance. Of course, Jamaica going in with a lot of momentum following their victory over the Barbadians, which was completely unexpected. Not after they were 30-odd for 5 and 87 for 8. You know, to see them going on to make 218, and then seeing Barbados at 118 for 2 and looking to be coasting to a victory and losing, the Jamaicans certainly finished up very strongly, led, as George mentioned, by Andre McCarthy and his off-spin bowling. But I would think TNT Red Force will be the team to beat, and the Guyana Jaguars should be the team getting to the final with them.
I'm concerned, though, about the amount of cricket that the teams would have played. If we compare this competition to the one in 1920, and oh, by the way, the Red Force set the pace in that competition as well. We had 8 games in the prelims in that competition. They lost only 1, 7 victories. And then they promptly went and flopped in the semi-finals. So it can happen. And a perfect record going into, or an outstanding record going into the last 4, the crunch games, is not a good barometer of what a team is likely to do in that knockout stage. So as I'm saying, remember, that competition we had in the recent iteration of the Super 50 was split into 2 groups, A and B, because there were 8 teams in the competition. This competition only one straight group, so you have a round robin stage, 5 games played. For me, not enough cricket for these boys. As we all understand that COVID has put restrictions on the organizers' capability to really get teams together, and of course we had guest teams coming in last year. You don't have that this year, but I'm just saying that for the development of West Indies cricket and for where we want the cricket to go, I think 5 games in the Premier one-day competition is inadequate. People are going to say, yes, but it is what we have, but we can talk about what we should have. And I'm just saying that there should have been, I'd have loved to see more teams in the competition, and more teams meaning more games. Don't forget who won 2019-20. It wasn't Trinidad and Tobago Red Force, it wasn't the Pride, it wasn't the Scorpions, it wasn't the Jaguars or the Leo or the Windwards. The West Indies emerging team after the Leowards froze in that final. So I'm saying that that tournament gave players a chance to put wickets on the board, to put runs on the board, beg your pardon, and to get wickets and to really get to hit their straps to gauge themselves as to where they would be in the ODI in limited overs cricket 50 over version. And I'm just saying that there wasn't enough cricket for my liking in this year's tournament for you to take seriously any of those numbers registered by any of those guys sitting at the top of the bowling charts, or in terms of the most runs scored in the tournament. I don't know what value you can put on what we have seen so far, given that each team only played 5 preliminary round games.
George, you definitely have a point, but I feel like just because we're in unprecedented times, it gives way and it allows for this. It's better than having no cricket whatsoever. And
when we compare everything to having no cricket, everything will be good. Is the point I'm making. So I'm just saying that yes, the COVID caused the organizers to be limited in how they are putting it, and of course, Mariah, it is what we have. But I'm just saying, when you're talking about strength of performances going into selection for West Indies limited overs teams, especially later on this year, I don't know how much value I can put in, especially in those who haven't gone to the top level before and are looking to go. What value you can put in the number of wickets they've taken or the number of runs they've scored just because the season has been restricted. Yeah? Oh, we're done?
Yeah, this segment is done.
All right, let's go to the break.